Welcome to the Flower Prophecies, a podcast exploring all things flower essences and remedies and flower therapy, and how this vibrational plant medicine has the potential to heal and shift our individual and collective health and consciousness. We'll be diving deep into the specifics of individual essences, nature's energetics, emotional healing and growth, as well as hearing client case studies, hosting special guests and professionals, and I'll be sharing my own personal explorations and philosophies channeled straight from the flowers. Through my own unearthing, I have discovered what I believe to be the most profound teaching of the flowers, and I now wish to share with you the practice of alchemizing fear into beauty. Welcome back to the Flower Prophecies. I am your host, Abby Rose, and today we have Adrienne Fisher. So Adrienne is a medicine woman, a messenger of the earth, a herbalist, a guide, and a teacher. She loves nothing more than communing with the earth and the elements and sharing their profound wisdom and gifts. Adrienne is trained in the wise woman tradition of healing, sacred plant medicine, holistic healing, and traditional herbalism. Her path of study is one that explores the connection of the physical, emotional, energetic, and spiritual aspects of wellness in both linear and non-linear realms. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I think I've been following you for a couple of years and I just love everything you share. Love following along with your journey with Call of the Lotus. So I would actually love to know, as a medicine woman and a teacher, could you share how your journey with the plants and flowers led you to the creation of your work with Call of the Lotus, and maybe what it is for those who are listening?
Yeah, my gosh. I mean, it's everything. It's pretty much a compilation of my entire journey with the plants and the earth so far. And then focused with one particular plant. So, Call of the Lotus is a 7-month apprenticeship with Egyptian Blue Lotus flower. And each month we work with the plant in different forms as we work through the chakras and the energy centers of the body. We work with different forms of the plant and different medicines and different rituals, practices, ways of communing with the earth and the elements within and around. So yeah, I mean, it's such a birthing of my work as student and with the earth over the years. And I'm such a person of devotion and slowness and embodiment before I turn and teach or share anything. So it's been such a long journey of really embodying and developing my own personal relationship with Lotus, as well as all of the teachings and practices I share before birthing this beautiful apprenticeship. So I think the biggest thing I've ever done so far, and has been so special.
So beautiful. Your work explores this connection between the physical, emotional, energetic, and spiritual aspects. How do you see flowers and plants particularly supporting the holistic approach to healing?
Yeah, well, I mean, the plants and the flowers exist. You know, they have an energetic and a physical bodies as well as we do. Like our souls exist in nonlinear realms and linear realms, and so do the plants. And so we're really just like a perfect pair together.
Agreed.
Yeah, like we just belong together. And gosh, they've just been here so much longer than we have and have such a high intelligence and unconditional love and like bountiful medicine and just so much to give. And just the imprint and the ways that they live and breathe just are such a mirror for us as well. So
absolutely.
Thanks.
What was that one? Sorry?
But we're made of the same things.
Yeah, totally. They're like these reflections of us. Absolutely. And I think, something that I kind of love about the flowers is, and I've shared this before, is like, and plants and flowers, all of nature, it doesn't discriminate, you know, like there's no judgment that it holds for us. There's no, you know, only if we're a certain way or if we do a certain thing, you know, it's they're just this, like you said, unconditional love that they're filled with.
Totally. And I always share with my students too. I don't know, it made me think of this, like, in spiritual spaces too, you always feel like, or maybe you may feel like you have to show up as like your best, most like spiritual, radiant self to like be in meditation or something, or be in the temple space. And with the plants, it's like, I'm like, come as you are, like, come feeling however it is, broken down or not your best self or whatever, just come and let the plants like hold you and work on you. Like you do not have to show up for them in a particular, perfect way. So I
Mm.
love that too, because it's such a beautiful reminder of like, yeah, the earth really shows us in the flowers and plants how to just be ourselves, however that is.
Mm. Yeah, because that's all they do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're like shedding and going through things, it's like, and we help each other.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I would love to hear your first or one of your most significant experiences with the Blue Lotus and what drew you to this specific flower and how your relationship has evolved with it over time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a journey. I,
I bet.
I was smiling today, remembering that the first medicine that really landed for me was the flower essence of Blue Lotus. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, perfect to share with Abby today.
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, wait, it was the essence.
Oh, wow.
I did I was introduced to Blue Lotus in my first apprenticeship, maybe in like 2016 or something, and loved it. Beautiful. It didn't hit then. Maybe I wasn't ready. And then I did a Swana apprenticeship with my teacher, Layla, who does these beautiful online herbal apprenticeships where it's people that have lineage or ancestry from the Levant, from Southwest Asia, North Africa region. So we all come together and we work with our ancestral plants of the land through flower essences or land essences that Layla has made in Lebanon. My mom's from Lebanon.
Wow.
We got the package with all the essences and we didn't know what each one was. We would work with it for 30 days and then find out what the essence was in the end so we could really learn from personal experience. And yeah, the month that it was Blue Lotus, I didn't know it was, but like every time I would go to take the drops, I would just smile so big. It just felt like my whole body just like came alive again. I was like so in love with it at first drop. And it wasn't all like joy and rainbows the whole month, it brings up a lot. But there was such a like deep connection and remembrance that started to weave. And I was, yeah, it just,
Mm.
yeah, taken from there. And yeah, found out it was Blue Lotus. And then I just fell into devotion with this plant. I like started working with it so intimately. I couldn't get enough. Blue Lotus has this way of bringing you into the mysteries, and I'm like in the archives researching like myths and discovering what has been hidden from us and just linking, and going on this beautiful
Mm.
journey. And I realized like, wow, it would take lifetimes to fully understand the multifacets of this flower and like all that it holds. But maybe if we came together in a circle, we could learn from each other and from each other's personal experience and sort of like write our own book of this plant because there's not much about it. And what is out there about the flower is so little and a little bit narrow, of like third eye consciousness shifter, a dream
Mm.
eye, and that's pretty much it, and
Yeah.
like, oh, there's so much more. And anyways, I just fell so in love. And yeah, it has been a plant that has totally changed my life. And it wasn't even like I had a choice. I felt like either it just sort of I had to do this,
Yeah.
it felt like
Call of the
such a,
lotus.
yeah, exactly, the call.
Oh, so beautiful. I love that. I love that your first experience with was with its essence and that you didn't actually know what it was. That's really fun. That's really cool.
And the essence was so powerful. My teacher Layla shares a really beautiful story around it because these days you can't really get the dried flowers that we work with are usually from now like Thailand or Sri Lanka or something
Mm.
because they don't grow in the Nile any longer.
Mm.
But she was in Egypt working with a woman who was cultivating the flower. And so she gave her a clipping, and Layla brought the clipping with her on the plane to Lebanon and
Wow.
planted it in Lebanon and started cultivating it there, and then made the essences of these flowers. And so that, I don't know, they just hit so different. And yeah, it's like the only little piece of medicine that I have of actually connecting with the flower from the Levant
Mm.
land. And something about that just, yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really beautiful. So,
Yeah.
speaking of, the mythology and diving into that mythology, could you share a little bit about specifically the mythology behind Blue Lotus and has how that has deepened your connection to its medicine and also how you feel like the origin stories of the plants that we work with inform our modern relationship with them?
Yeah, I love this question because I love mythology and cosmology and like archetypal stories so much. Um, And like through these stories, it's as if the ancient ones and our ancestors have left little like mirrors and roadmaps of how we can like navigate life and navigate these realms. And, you know, then the plants that hold creation stories within them, the stories mirror so much about the plant's medicine in ways that are, yeah, so deep and true and raw and authentic. It's like, yeah, really so special. And in my work with Lotus, there's many stories that I have found that mirror Lotus and mysteries. The first one being that Lotus holds the creation story within it. In Egypt, the creation story is that the lotus birthed the world, that the lotus, it was all dark and nothing separated earth and heaven. It was like a dark abyss until like the lotus bloomed from the dark waters of the delta and birthed the sun, and then all creation existed from the lotus flower.
Wow.
Like that version. And then there's a version of Lotus like birthing Nefertum, who is the deity of Lotus. And then he cried out because he was a newborn baby, and the tears and his cries like woke up the world. But just so special. And yeah, there's so much just in that in itself. That's a really summed up version of the story. But that that medicine of ascent and the sun and like birth and creation and becoming, Lotus holds so much of that medicine too. And then another myth that has really helped me understand Lotus medicine even more is the story of Inanna, that I've sort of woven together with, Inanna is one of the descent stories, one of the oldest myths that have ever been found on this planet. And there's so many iterations of her: Inanna, Ishtar, and then Katesh, who's from Canaan, the Levant, who is an iteration of Inanna and holds the same story. And you see depictions of her holding lotus flowers, like the buds and the flowers, standing on the lion. And her story just relates so much to the path that you go on with Lotus, of this descending into the seven gates of the underworld to unravel and like disarm oneself and strip away like the facets and things you've collected over time that aren't of your truest essence of the soul, like on a soul level. And then journeying back through and reclaiming parts of yourself and rising as like a completely new person, but like the person who you really are after you, like deep within you, who you've always been, you know? And that ascent descent story just mirrors Lotus's journey and our journey in Call of the Lotus a lot too. And that one's like a Bible that we carry in this work that just has helped make sense of when you're going into the mud and you feel like you're in the depths of the darkness, that there's so much medicine there and there's a light there too.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So beautiful. And I can really feel that, you know, like I myself have never worked with a specific ally for, you know, 7 or more months consistently. But I feel like this, it's kind of like taking any one of our plant allies and literally devoting ourselves to it, committing ourselves to it, brings forth that whole transformation within that one, you know, journey. I love that. It's so beautiful.
It's so true. I often think, like, what would it be like to do that with other plants too? And would it be the same? Or, you know, I feel like that. But to just be so devoted to really understanding a plant from personal experience over anything is, really special.
Thank you for sharing. That's so lovely. I love it. So you've trained in the wise woman tradition of healing. How does this inform your devotional practices with the plants and the flowers?
Yeah. The wise woman tradition of healing is so sweet. You know, uh, it's like of all of our ancestors and grandmothers, you know, in like Paleolithic and later times, you know, like pre-religion times, almost of like midwifery and doula and turning to the wise woman, like the crone woman, for wisdom and medicine, and turning to the land and working with medicine that is like available to all and like community oriented and community care and deep reciprocity. And I think the most special part of the wise woman tradition of healing that I really bring into my work as teacher as well is that there's no hierarchy with the wise woman tradition of healing. And sometimes, you know, there can be a little bit of hierarchy with like guru or, you know, a healer that's like, I will heal you.
Yes.
And you need me in order to be healed or receive help. And in the wise woman tradition, it's, I'll play with you in the magic garden. And it's like, it feels that we are holding hands together and going in as one and receiving from the plants, receiving from higher guidance and, working together. There's like, I don't know, just such a special, feels like home or something
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. I love that. I think the world needs some more of that right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd love to know, whether it's in your Call of the Lotus journey or whether it's in your just your everyday practice and your other offerings. I'd love to know how you approach ceremony when working with the flowers and what elements do you find essential for creating sacred space where you come to meet the flowers in all they are and the plants.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if I'm dropping into like a ceremony in particular.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. Gosh. I guess it depends what what we're doing or what
Totally.
ceremony. But for the most part, I mean, when it comes to tools or ways of weaving myself into ceremony with being in deep listening with the earth and the plants, opening the senses of my body so I can listen and hear and commune. I always say a prayer. Like the prayer is everything for me. Calling in the directions and the elements of the earth and spirit guides and ancestors and heart. And that just really just weaves me in. Like I don't need anything else really. I can like go out, but that prayer is so important to me and can be so simple too, really, but it's just taking time to really drop in and acknowledge. And I find that ceremony really responds to that. The plants and the earth really respond to that, and guides and ancestors. Um, so that, sacred smoke is such a beautiful ally. All of the sacred smoke plants, the incense, and yeah, blessing herbs of the sacred smokes. And they each hold their own particular medicine and energy and essence as well. And I find that, like, not just using them to clear energy, but to ground into sacred space. And if you burn like the same blessing herb or incense just for ceremony, like maybe you choose one that you feel really connected to and you only burn it for ceremony, it starts to create that scent like a new neural pathway in the brain so that you can like drop in once you breathe in that plant and you're just like working together to like call in spirit, and that smoke is like a river current connecting you to the plants and to spirit. And yeah, they're so powerful and so wise, the sacred smokes, and so simple. And I love to feed them out into the earth, into the plants and flowers too. And yeah, I think those are like the two
Yeah.
main allies. And then everything else if I'm feeling fancy.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
putting it in.
I love that that thought of using the same sacred smoke each time to really like initiate that recognition and dropping in. That's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
started to do that with a song, like the same song too.
Yes.
Mine has been Faith's Hymn by Beautiful Chorus forever. My students are probably so sick of hearing it, but I'll play that on repeat and it
Yeah.
just like drops me in
Yeah.
like over time. It
I
just, my
think I was
body
listening to that last week.
really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really lovely. I'm gonna take note of that. The
Yeah.
consistency of like the same music, the same smoke. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's cool. It like your body remembers and it begins to court that practice of connection more and more.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess it gives you like this sense of like, you speak of grounding, but it's like it doesn't matter then kind of like where you are and what is happening around you, that you're able to then still find that place and that space within.
Yeah, it's so true. Mm.
So, I would love to know, you spoke, about how both the plants and ourselves will exist in these linear and non-linear realms. I'd love to, ask you about how you navigate between these different realms when you're developing the relationships with your plant allies.
Mm. Like how I go between the two, or like
Yeah.
how I journey?
Yeah. Whatever you feel called to share,
Mm.
whatever feels.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the way I learned about the plants in my trainings and apprenticeships. We were doing plant meditations of journeying to commune with the spirit of the plant and learning directly from the plant in our bodies about the plant. Not We weren't really in like herb books and stuff,
Yes.
So it's like the only way I know, and also the only way I knew I was called to when I knew I wanted to study the plants more. I don't really hold that story of, going through any physical ailment and that bringing me to the plant path, which so
Yeah.
many have, which is so special. Mine was more of like, I can hear the trees talking. How do I learn this more?
Yeah.
Well, also wanting to learn about the medicine of the plants too. And
So, I would love to ask you, for the listeners who are feeling called to develop a devotional practice with a specific plant ally, what guidance would you offer them for beginning this sort of journey?
mm, yeah. Mm. There's so much. It's so simple, but depending on if you're going out onto the land to connect with a plant or flower or taking it in, but really, the practice is opening the senses of your body to really listen and get to know a plant. To form a relationship, it's a practice and it takes time and yeah, it's sort of like a returning over and over again to make time and space to work with the plant or get to know it if you really want to, and like tend that relationship as it was with a new friend. Um, and in this listening, we get our nervous systems down into a really grounded, beautiful hum that the earth speaks at as well. And if we can do that and open the senses of our body, we really just remember how to listen and how to be a part with the plants and the earth. There's this like sense of belonging that is formed here. And here we also court our relationship with our inner knowing, our own intuition, and our deep listening abilities, which is so beautiful. You like get to know yourself so well and your own intuition through trusting what you're receiving from the plant, how it feels in your own body when you take it in. What does it smell like to you? Where do you feel it in your body? Taking these notes, it's like, your body knows, trust yourself. And when we remember just the simple practice of listening with all of our senses, we remember these stories within the earth and they really become a part of who we are. They become alive within us. And yeah, it's so simple and it's this practice of remembrance. Like we all remember how to do this, we all have it in our bodies. And we're learning from the plants, but we're also learning more so with the plants. Um, People often come with, or like humans come with, like, what does this plant do for me? What is this plant good for? Humans are so used to like taking and using and extracting with little to no reciprocity at all. And who said it? Maybe Robin Wall Kimmerer in one of her books said that humans have the least experience and the most to learn,
Hmm.
and that we must look to our teachers among other species for guidance, which I just love that. Like they teach us by example. And so Yeah, just offering your presence and your listening and seeing what they have to share with you. And it's as simple as that. And then if you're going out onto the land to get to know a plant or a tree or a flower over time and visiting with them, offering your presence there, like with making flower essences, my favorite part of that process is having my eyes open and being in the here and now and observing the way the flower grows and what does it look like and what is this little pattern I see here and what color is it, and I'm like writing it down what I see and drawing little parts of it, and you just start to really listen without the ears. The plants communicate non-verbally, but the plant communicates with you simply through just observing the way it grows and the little patternings and what is the symbol, like what are these symbolisms telling us? And then you start to just receive all of this beautiful
Mhm.
intelligence from the plant, from your heart, just that presence is all they really ask for. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And I think a lot of people can get stuck in like whether what they're receiving is the right thing, or because we have, like you say, we have all these notes of what plants are for and what they can do for us, and so like we get lost in that a bit. But they're there to give you exactly what you need, and presence is also trusting in that, like trusting in what they're offering you. So it's like what you're hearing is relevant, what you're receiving from them is relevant. It doesn't matter if it's different to the next person.
Absolutely. Everyone's journey is so unique and relationship is so unique. Like with people, it's like we all have our own experiences with each other.
Yeah.
And some the same, some so different. But um, I love what you said about what did you say? What about oh, people feel like, oh, trusting what they're receiving, trusting the messages they're receiving or what they're receiving. And that's a practice in itself too that I think is strengthened the more that you return to a plant
Yes.
and learning how to listen to your own body and your own messages. And I think the most beautiful thing with the plants too is like your body will be, the plants find you first of all when you're meant to work with them, I think. And
Mm.
also your body will like reject a plant that it just doesn't want, and it
Mm.
will like can't get enough of a plant that it really, really wants and needs. So our
So
bodies are so intelligent over our minds in that way too.
absolutely. And something else that's really interesting to witness in that is if you can be, if you're in a proximity of a specific plant that you're not attracted to and your body doesn't want, and for a long time it's like that, and then one day you see it and you like appreciate its beauty and you're like, wait, hang on, and you start to form this relationship. It's so interesting to witness that dynamic when you move from not needing it to like being in alignment with it.
So true. Yeah, I know. It's so special. You're like, oh, this is really real,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, totally. It gives you like that. You're like, hang on, there's something to this then. Yeah.
Mm.
I love that. And how has your own devotional practice and relationship with the flowers and the plants influenced your understanding of feeling called to guide others in this?
Mm. Yeah. I think that once I just started to experience so much medicine and a sense of belonging, and when I realized, like, oh, I don't have to always lean on humans for guidance or help or to hold me when I'm sad. I can lean on the plants. When I started to really develop strong relationships with certain plant allies, I was just like, oh, everyone needs this. And it just felt like my duty to share it and with as many people as I can, or whoever feels called to that. I just felt, yeah, like a duty to be a messenger of the earth in my own way, to help people form their own relationship and find that sense of belonging if they feel lost. And yeah, remember this sense of wholeness and this like sovereignty that we all have in our own bodies and the ways we have. Yeah, I don't know, just this ability to reclaim what has been lost from us. And yeah, it just came so natural. I was just like, I have to share. I have to share this with others. And I want to help people with this. So yeah, I think that, yeah, it was from that, from experiencing that. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And that resonates so much. I know that feeling. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. I just have one last question for you today. This has been so beautiful, but I'd love to hear what you believe the flowers and the plants and the trees are teaching us about the integration of the physical and spiritual realms, of these linear and non-linear realms, during our time here on Earth.
Yeah. Gosh. They're teaching us so much. Right?
Full question.
It's like they're teaching us so much.
Yeah, they are.
I think one of the most powerful things I've received is that like the non-linear and or heaven or spirit is here on earth, all around us. And in the plants available to us, in the flowers and in the water and the sun, and yeah, that it's here. And, you know, for so long at the beginning of my path, and the ways that Lotus has opened my channeling abilities like crazy, that I wasn't expecting. For a while, I wanted to be more in the nonlinear very often. And then I got pulled back down onto earth, and I'm like, oh, wait, it's all here. We don't need to journey out too far, like find it here. And I think that the plants and flowers want us to remember that now, so that we can move in this world differently, with that knowing and with that feeling of belonging, that we're not severed from our human and beyond human kin here.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think that message has been coming through strong for me in particular, but I think, yeah, for the earth. So, yeah, I think that's a beautiful share. Oh, this has been so, so lovely. Is there anything else that you kind of feel called to share with the audience, with the collective?
Nothing in particular, just, yeah, I don't know. I think I feel good. Yeah, I almost just want to like encourage everyone to go out onto the earth and just breathe and remember that you're never alone. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Adrienne. This has been lovely. And thank you everyone for listening in. Please let us know what you think. And if you would like to find Adrienne and her offerings, where can everyone do that?
Yes, my website is adrienne.earth and my Instagram is Adrienne__Earth.
I'll tag it in the show notes as well, so that they can just click it. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'll be back with you all in a couple of weeks.